Behind every animated film, there are countless artists and producers who remain invisible, their contributions unknown to most viewers. Author and animation historian Mindy Johnson introduced me to MJ Winkler, an unsung hero whose name you might not recognize. She started out as a secretary for Harry Warner, but left to start her own company, forever changing the trajectory of the animation industry.
So a lot of your work shines a light on unacknowledged heroes of this animation story.
There are a number of them. MJ Winkler, Margaret Winkler.
Right. Who used initials for
She
obvious
added
reasons.
a fictitious J to her name to operate in kind of a gender-neutral fashion. In fact, she would correspond as MJ Winkler, and she'd show up as she was the lead distributor for novelties.
These are short cartoons,
Short
animated
cartoons,
films.
travelogues. She had a whole mixture of things in her portfolio of what she promoted, but primarily animation, early animation. She's the first woman producer in the Producers Guild. She was very successful working for Harry Warner when the Warner Brothers were involved with distribution. When they were divesting themselves of their distribution operations in New York and making their way to California to start their studio here in Southern California, Harry said to her, you know, you're good at this. Take these novelties and do something with them, which she did.
Yeah.
She, at that point, had put Felix the cat on the map. Felix is the first cartoon character that became an icon. So much so, even bigger than any kind of mouse that might come along eventually. But it was thanks to Margaret Winkler and her just prowess, her skill, her understanding of the industry. She knew what her audiences wanted. She traveled quite a bit across the country, meeting with her different outlets and theaters that she was distributing to, finding out what worked for the audiences. She would sit and listen and watch audiences watching the films. So when she received a film from a young filmmaker out of Kansas City named Walter Disney, it came at an opportune time. Walt had done his research when he completed his Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, his first experiment in Kansas City.
And this is a sort of mashup of animation and live action?
He saw what was happening with Coco the Clown, where it was an animated character in the real world, and he said, well, why not invert that and put a real live character, a girl, a young girl, in an animated world? And that was his hook, his angle, and it worked. So he began setting up his camera to begin to create advertising animated interstitials for the Pantages Theaters chain here in Southern California. And he received a telegram from MJ Winkler saying, I've seen your work. There's some work to be done, but I think we can do business. And with that began Disney Brothers Studios.
That's his first big break.
It was, very much. So it was interesting that it was a woman who made that happen.
Mindy's work shines a light on the women who helped Walt Disney build his animation empire. And it wasn't just Margaret Winkler. Disney also entrusted his animators to art school founder Nelbert Chenard for training in the fine arts. And a small army of ink and paint artists, mostly women, added definition and color to his animated classics. I'm Nathan Masters, host of Lost LA. For more stories like these, be sure to subscribe.